You have looked at trauma-related care and experiencing trauma, and you have a section on your website that looks at food insecurity. And I remember learning how food insecurity in itself is a form of trauma. Do you
Mm.
want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, thank you. It's such an important question. There's been a lot of emphasis on adverse childhood experiences, what people call ACEs. And I think that the original ACE study was very limited in the fact that it looked at adverse childhood experiences in the household, specifically those that fall under the domain of child maltreatment. So, abuse and neglect, as well as those that fall under the domain of household dysfunction, parent living with mental illness, using drugs, going to jail or prison, and parents being separated. And it took many years for investigators and trauma researchers to understand the importance of looking at that, not just at the household level, but in the community. So we call these expanded ACEs, thinking about people that were exposed to community violence, bullying, the experience of discrimination based on race, gender, et cetera. And there's a lot of other adverse childhood experiences that can happen in the local community rather than just the household. But then more recently, we've thought about, well, what about other adverse childhood experiences that occur in the household, like adverse food related experiences? So there's definitely dynamics in certain families where food is used as reward, as punishment, or there is insufficient food, right? Food insecurity. Maybe there's shame about using food assistance. And I think that the world of adverse food related experiences is going to open up a lot of good research questions, particularly in the domain of eating disorders. And so I do want to recognize that the original ACE research did recognize, potential food insecurity, having unstable sources of food, clothes, et cetera. But looking at food insecurity as a form of trauma in the early life that can affect not only mental health outcomes, but one's relationship to food is super, super important. We have some data to show links between food insecurity and eating disorders, as well as food insecurity and what we call food addiction.